The next speaker we have on board before we have a break for the lunch break is Professor Sven Ripsas. He's from the University of the Hochschule für Wirtschaft und Recht in Berlin for professorship for entrepreneurship. And he will tell us a little bit about startup numbers, and he created a startup Cockpit, and he will tell us now more about what it is.
Thank you. Thank you so
Please welcome him.
Thank you so much. The mic is working? Okay. I don't know what the organizers of the conferences thought when they put me after him.
You will be better.
I don't know. But maybe completely the opposite. And he was talking about the marathon. Who's running marathon here in the room? Okay, what's your time?
4 hours and 25.
That's an excellent time. 4 hours, 25, that's excellent. When I started, I also were a professional football player, so soccer player. We have something in common with Rodrigo. But then I switched, and today I'm a yoga teacher, and I'm doing triathlons. So half triathlon is about 6 hours. So it's even a little bit longer. There are a lot of things that were absolutely true, according to my understanding, what Rodrigo said. Not everything I would share, but I think a lot of things are true. What we are doing at our university, where's the presenter here, is maybe a combination of what you have heard today here in the morning, traction and passion. I think these are the two elements that entrepreneurship brings together. So here's what I'm doing, just to give you an overview. My core work is the Berlin Startup Insights project, where we are doing research with startups here in Berlin. Our main partners are KPMG and the German Startup Association. We're doing the German Startup Monitor. We are doing the European Startup Monitor. Actually, I started the first business plan competition in Germany 20 years ago. And when I did this, I thought that people writing a business plan are more successful than those that do not write a business plan. Well, that was my basic assumption. After 10 years, we evaluated many business plans we have here in Germany now. And what we found out is that's not true. And we only analyzed the winners of business plan competitions. We looked at the winners of business plan competition. And what we found is that they perform averagely. They have an average performance to the normal entrepreneur. So winning a business plan does not make you more successful. So I said, okay, that was not what I expected. Because everybody tells you when you write a business plan, you become more successful. That's not true. And then we did international research, and we found, yes, that's also not true in the US, and it's also not true in Great Britain. So writing a business plan is nothing that helps you to become successful. You don't need that for being more successful. You need a business plan for the investors. That's important to have something, a document for the investors. So I heard this excellent speech of Niklas here an hour and a half ago. And I think his title was misleading. He didn't talk about business plans. Did he tell you how many pages you should write and all those business plans? No. He didn't talk about, did you talk about business plans? You talked about presentations, about the process, how you develop an idea from the first idea to the moment when you are in the room with an investor talking about an investment. And then the investor will ask you for a kind of document. So what he was really talking about was about the process of developing a business. 3 years ago, when we started our research, we wanted to reduce the amount of work entrepreneurs put into writing a business plan, because we all know most of the business plans you write in vain. You write hundreds of pages, the informations are outdated the next day, so writing a business plan is nothing you really like. But what you like is the money of the investors. So you have to give them something, but you have to make it more efficient. In the 90s, we made you write documents like 30 pages, 40 pages, the more the better, because that was your homework. You should prove that you know the market, and nobody does that anymore. What you have to do is to develop a set of information to the investors, and of course to yourself, that helps you on the way to the proof of concept. Niklas was talking about traction. I thought that maybe we could do the same presentation of you and we just do copy and paste and put proof of concept instead of traction. When I'm talking about this, I always use the term proof of concept, because this is what the investors want to see. And you're in the driver's seat. So you want to know, are you going into the right direction? Do you have enough fuel? Is the speed okay? Is the traction okay? Are my processes fine? Am I efficient? Yeah? And when we talked about business plans, we always said, okay, every pilot in an airplane has a flight plane. He checks for thunderstorms. He checks for all kinds of bad weathers and problems. He will not start flying without having checked it all. The same is true when you start a business. You should develop all this kind of information. What do you not need to do is to write in narratives long business plans. That's the point. You need the information, you need the facts. But you don't need the prosa and all the long words and about marketing theory and the 4 Ps and Porter's 5 forces and all the kind of instruments consultants make you put into business plans. That's not the point. So what you would like to have as an entrepreneur, as a car driver, only 3 or 4 instruments that tell you you are on the right way, the engine is working fine, everything's smooth. That would be the ideal situation. So when you start your business in the morning, you open your laptop, you have a kind of cockpit and saying everything green, everything fine, enough fuel. That is what we are working on at the moment. At the end of this presentation, you will not get a full cockpit. That is still, we are working on that. But we want to show you what we are doing. You mentioned the lean startup, Rodrigo mentioned the lean startup. That changed a lot because we know that failure is daily business. Think back 20 years. You wrote a business plan, you got 500 euro to start the business, and you failed. Because a lot was about executing the business plan. The business plan is plan A. Most cases, it will not work. When you put all your money and all your efforts and all your thoughts into plan A, there's a very high likelihood you will fail. It's the same as if you would assume that everything is smooth. Yeah, you're constructing a rocket car, and those rocket cars only run on salt lakes because they are flat. Here you are on a Brandenburg alley with a lot of curves and a lot of trees, and the moment you get the 500,000 investment, you start the rocket, the engine boosts, you go, and you hit the next tree. Plan A doesn't work. So make sure that the assumptions you have, and I'm sorry, it's like a repetition of his presentation. The assumptions, you have to track them down. There's an excellent article, it's only like 8 pages long in Harvard Business Review, 20 years ago. Discovery-driven planning. And the basis is a list of assumptions. So make sure that your assumptions are those that you check, because plan A will not work. So, this is nothing new. Who knows that guy? It's Friedrich August von Hayek, an Austrian Nobel laureate. He won his prize, I guess, like 50 years ago for describing market as a discovery process. He said that man does not know all the information in a market. He has to discover the customer's real needs. You don't know it when you write your business plan at a desk in a small in a small room. What does the lean people tell you? Get out of the building. Market is a discovery process. He won Nobel laureate for that. Okay, so let's put all those information together. Here's the literature for that. That's different books this time, but same content. Same content than the books he recommended to you. Okay? The 4 steps to epiphany, actually, I like it more than the startup manual because that's the original thought of Steve Blank. It's a little bit shorter. It's more narrative. It's nicer to read, but it has less facts. When I'm looking for a manual how to start a business, I like the Running Lean book, but you can also use, of course, the startup manual. And of course, if you want to use a German book that has a very similar context than the lean startup world, use Kopfschläg Kapital. Who has read this? Just give me. Oh, okay, fine. Okay. I think this is one of the best books written for entrepreneurs because it really helps you to approach things with components, with small investments at the beginning. Because before we go to investors, and this is exactly what Niklas said, before we want to go to investors, we have to show traction. Before you write the long business plan, you have to show that you have a proof of concept. So, the basic idea is at the beginning. You said that you're working on your bicycle cover thing. I guess you are here. So you're starting out with some assumptions how your business might work. And you have a long way to go. So save your money. That's why a lot of entrepreneurs are very reluctant to support anyone else. And I think that's absolutely true because you don't know how long it takes until your business is really generating profits. You are here and you have to try and test out your business model. My suggestion is go into the Running Lean book and just follow the Running Lean book, or if you want to go into the Startup Owner's Manual, do that. And you have to find some entrepreneurs you already know that help you, that give you support, give you feedback. I would always try to find a mentor, but not a formal mentor from an investor or so, but like another entrepreneur that helps you to go through the process. Problem-solution fit. A lot of entrepreneurs make one mistake. They think they have an idea. Okay, I have a product. Let's sell it. That's not the point. Our starter cockpit and everything we do is we want to start very early here. Do I really have a problem that is worth solving? Okay? When I have a product, maybe your product is already built, then you have to test it. It's not ready. You have to test it if it really fits the customer needs. The problem is we all have is every entrepreneur is unique. So your business might look like this. That's an early picture of Facebook. Yeah? But your startup might also look like this. Yeah? Maybe that's an early picture of the tea campaign or so. Startups look different. And so every startup cockpit is different. That's the challenge for us as researchers. Yeah? We would love to give you a template and then you go out the room and then everything is fine. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But what I can give you in the next 5 minutes is a mindset, what you can do with your business in the next weeks and months. All cars, all startups are different. Nevertheless, the cockpit, the dashboard in the cars mostly display the same information. Yeah, you have the speed, revolutions, gasoline, water temperature. So this is what you need as a startup, as an entrepreneur. So here's our assumption. This is not ready. This is an iterative process. Our assumption is you need 3 areas of KPIs. And your first area is the speedometer, traction. Yeah, that's traction. So how is your interaction with customers? You can start as an online business and you get tools and tools and tools to track your customer activity. Here, you have a lot of support from the software. Do this and find out what is your customer, or what is the KPI that really would persuade an investor later on to invest in your business, or if you are not looking for investor, what is the KPI that gives you profitability in the long run? Second, your fuel is of course cash. Yeah, how long, what's your burn rate? How long can you sustain product development? How long does it take to break even? And if you are talking to a banker or to an investor, most entrepreneurs underestimate the time it needs to have the money on your bank account. If it's less than 3 months, you're really in trouble. Yeah, if a business or if an entrepreneur comes to us and says, okay, we need money today, it's the early September, and he said, we need money later on in October, very, very difficult bargaining position he has. If he's lucky, he gets some money at all. But the conditions, he cannot really negotiate. Yeah, we heard that you should put a long list and short list. For this process, I would assume you need 6 months. So you should have enough money on your bank account to run your business for the next 6 months. So here, this should be reflected in your display talking about finance. And last but not least, the revolutions or the efficiency, all kind of on the marketing side. For example, you have here the customer acquisition costs. You have all kind of processes that are internal. We think that every startup should have like between 5 to 10 KPIs, not more, not less. If you have more, it's getting very complicated. What we need is a very, very simple cockpit. Some kinds of literature, lean analytics, I don't know who has read that book. Sometimes you have they favor one kind of KPI at each time. It's changing. In the very early days, you should focus only on that KPI. Maybe it's customer traction. Later on, you focus on efficiency. So make sure that you love numbers. We heard about passion. As an entrepreneur, you should have passion for your product and passion for numbers. Because at the end, in order to survive, you also have always to have good numbers. I think that's the combination between traction and passion. Passion for the customer and passion for the company. We are developing this kind of cockpit. We think that in the long run, it will, in the early days of a company, help the entrepreneur to build a proof of concept, and then technically you write a business plan in order to persuade an investor. But in the early days, you only need a very simple cockpit, and if you're interested in that, we are very happy to talk with you and exchange what we learned and maybe learn from you as well. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for that really interesting talk. Do we have any questions from the audience before we all go to the long-deserved lunch break?
Everybody wants lunch. Yes.
Okay, no question. I have one. Like, if I have a startup now and I need to figure out what's my personal cockpit, can you help me then? Do you have some standardized
no,
cockpits?
not yet, but that's our ideal. Okay. Today we would say we are just trying to figure out a kind of workshop, so that you come to a one-day workshop with us where we do kind of analyzing your situation, and then at the end of the workshop you should be able to have developed your own cockpit, because you know the best how to do it, but we would help you through this process.
Okay, that sounds really great. You've heard it. If you want to do that, approach him. He will invite you for a one-day workshop.
Exactly.
And now we are all ready to have the lunch break, and this will be downstairs, and I will be very happy to welcome you back here at 2 o'clock in the starter stream. Thank you all.
Okay.